I wasn't born a leader.
It wasn't given to me.
I couldn't buy it.
How'd I get here?
I decided.
I decided.
I decided.
I decided.
Decide to lead as an Army officer.
All right, I'm here with Sergeant First Class Anthony Niski. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm excited to learn more about what you do and talk about some video games as well as the Army. So what is your career in the Army?
I spent 9 years as a tanker, which is a 19 kilo. It's a M1 armor crewman. After that, I reclassed to 42 Alpha, which is human resources. And currently, I'm a recruiter down in Malden, Massachusetts.
And how long you been doing the recruiting role? The HSEL Fall Major back and up with another Valorant Best of One between two, you guessed it, high school squads. I'm Todd Light, joined alongside me here is Shibby for the HSEL Fall Major matchups this week. Shibby, to start things off, we do have Cushing Academy taking on the Putnam Science Academy, and it's a PSA because they are coming out swinging.
Yeah, public service announcement, guys. They're swinging. They're coming in. They're going to go in for a best of one here. And between these two teams, we've got a pretty interesting map, right? We hemmed and mawed offline. We were like, all right, I don't want to see Ascent. I don't want to see Split. Well, you know, TTL, we're getting one of my favorite maps, Bind, here coming in. As you do see the bands coming out. Split, Lotus Haven banned out by Cushing Academy. And then we have Pearl, Breeze, and Sunset taken away by the Mustangs here. I was kind of hoping for Sunset. I haven't got to cast too much of that map, but Bind is a close second here. I love to see what kind of agents they end up going here, as I believe we are on the patch with the smoke changes, TTL.
I am both a fan of the smoke changes as a caster and not a fan as a player, because everybody has been saying, oh, it's been lowering the skill ceiling, but I feel like that's not really the case. It's more heightening the floor, where some people who don't have that extra information, maybe you're in a ranked game and your teammate isn't calming when their smoke is down, that helps you. And as a caster, if we're just completely switching over there without any extra information, we know when the smoke's dissipating and when that information would be back up and on the board for those squads. Speaking of these squads, by the way, if anybody's curious, I always wonder where a lot of the teams are when it comes to high school matches. Turns out both of these squads are in the Northeast. Cushing Academy just north of Boston, Putnam Science Academy just south inside of Connecticut. So if anybody's curious, you can go Google that one yourself. Cushing starting over on this side. Oh, I got it right. They'll start on the defense. Putnam Science Academy over on the attack.
Yeah, we do see some Reyna hovers coming in here. I think the standard bind composition that we've seen time and time again is that double controller. I'm a big fan of it. I love double controller. I will never stop talking about double controller. I know a lot of people think it's boring or it's kind of slow paced, but I really think it kind of shows off the intellect of the teams, right? How are they using their smokes or their walls? How are they feinting back and forth between the sites, right? Are they going to fake this time around? Are they actually going to just commit onto the A-bomb site or B-bomb site? Double smoke, in my opinion, or double controller in this case, is really just kind of shows off your brain power as a team. And it allows you to kind of take the map slowly, where you don't have to rely on these, kind of hard executions that require you to have like be super mechanical and have all these executes ready, you can kind of take it slow paced, wait for a pick, and then attack the site here. But it looks like both of these teams are not taking any of my advice. They're like, we only need one controller here. That's all.
Double Sentinel being brought in for Cushing, surprisingly enough. And on the other side, PSA bringing in the double Initiator. Two of the best Initiators in the game, by the way. Chaos Guy, that combination is deadly, not only for information, but because the flashes are just so consistent and so easy to play around should you play the agent for more than 10 minutes every other week. So having that ability will help. I'm also really a big fan of seeing the teams play different controllers against one another. You said double controller. I'm a fan of double controller. I'm also a fan of when two separate controllers have to then contend with each other. For instance, in this case, the Astra versus that Omen. I really am a fan of the Astra on bind. Omen, however, a significantly good pick just the same.
Yeah, and Omen in this scenario is kind of like gonna play that second duelist as well, right? Because if you look at the side of that double sentinel team with Cushing, they don't really have the best ways to go in. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna double smoke in. He's probably gonna TP into one of his smokes to cause a lot of confusion and frustration on the attacking side, on the side here, and just hopefully when they swap over to offense, that's what they'll have to worry about, right? So you have that double sentinel. I'm expecting an 8-4 round from this team. Like if they get anything worse than that, I would consider this a failure. Like if it's 7-5 or 6-6, I mean, that's really good for PSA if they can kind of get that to that round score. 8-4 is what I'm looking for out of Cushing Academy, specifically because you drafted both the Sage and the Cypher here. Now the match has started and we're getting a bit of a default coming out from PSA.
And just ascended by Sealeaf, already all the way forward inside of Showers. You talked about the compositions. I think sometimes in high school or collegiate you could say compositions have a clear and obvious advantage. This, I don't think, is the case. Clipping helps. Somehow Mashal doesn't take a single lick of damage from the paint shells within 3 or 4 feet of them. The bench basically saving 90 HP.
Laugh is just being a demon right now with this shorty. He can play in these smokes and he's going to wait for the push. Double Satchel was used by the Rays here, so they got the space onto Showers, but now they're kind of stuck here as the rest of Cushing kind of waits, and you've still got that Cypher set up on B, and that's a menace in of itself to attack.
Seems like the regrowth has also been expended as well, only about 80 HP for the KO for PSA. At this point, they're really committing towards this side of the map. They have not dedicated anything towards B, utility, sound cues, even a fake to put something forward. Onto this A side, there are 3 players waiting for them. One of them close with that Omen, and it's the Omen with the shorty, finding one, and is not immediately engaged upon, is able to reload, and now re-engage will find a point-blank shot onto Yoshi. And just like that, it's 2, but it's only 2. As PSA will get that spike down.
And both the Sentinels now forced to retake here. How are they going to be able to use some of their util? Did we see the camera taken back? Is that KO knife ready for the silence? We've also potentially got a star on the bomb site here. Snowscotone is going to get that one kill, but I don't think they've found out where Astra is right now. He could get 2 here.
Got the opportunity. Swing, but the swing just a little bit too far. Somehow not noted, though. Neither player turns around. They're dedicating themselves towards lamps, and they've done so properly, but there's very limited time in this 1 versus 2, and Limbo being seen, they have to stick on the spike. That's exactly what's going to happen, and low HP here for Limbo. They cannot swing consciously. They'll still look to do so. Just narrowly will Snowster Kane stop that kill, and Orion will hop off the spike only for a 10th of a second to allow their teammate to set up that frag, and they'll find the pistol.
Yeah, and a bit of apprehensiveness coming out from Limbo here, right? You missed that first shot and you duck back in. I mean, it's a 2v2. You have to kind of swing with your teammate there, especially if you are playing that post plant, because if they can just take that 2v1, make it another 2v1, then you've kind of failed your team there. It was a 3v2 at the start of that plant, and it just kind of feels like that post plant from PSA was just not executed properly.
You also see that Cushing had the ability to stick around. Only 2 kills surprisingly found by Laugh. That was the 2 kills for all 3 players combined on the A site. And it allowed PSA some breathing room, but it seems like they didn't take it as much, trying to stack up both players around lamps, over aggression when they really didn't need it. There can be improvements, though. This is the second round. They had that plant, so they will be able to at least buy something crucial. Already a nice little 2-tap onto Limbo's head. They'll disengage with full HP and just pretend nothing happened. However, they'll give up the ultimate orb because of the paint shell.
That's second round Vandal buy can be dangerous, right? Because you don't have any armor, you don't have anything to work with. So if you get popped out, or if there's 2 or 3 people there, you can lose that gun very, very quickly. But they know that Mashel's still waiting around the showers area. It feels like they've kind of wanted to commit to A, and you saw on CA's side, right? The Sky actually ended up buying 0 guns, right? Just has the classic ready. Maybe trying to fake that, hey, I didn't buy anything. Like, this site is weak. And then you can kind of put them into the arms of Laugh here, who has this judge at this kind of lamps area. They've practically got A site locked down, and both the Sentinels have moved themselves to B. So this is rough for PSA.
It was until the rotation went around. It did for 2 seconds, and then they start to come back. Odd decisions on both sides. PSA trying to start to air over towards the B half. Oxytocin will make noise and will be definitively heard, and they are just patiently waiting on or around this site, but somehow Snowster Kane gets a little bit too close and is caught out in the meantime, and Orion caught out because Oxytocin retrieved that Vandal. Spike plant and another retake required.
Oh, this is dangerous now. The post plant with the Vandal ready, and they're going to be able to potentially pick up another gun right now. And that's all because the Sage had the utility out here. Laugh, though, has this corner covered. I don't know if you want to swing him, Kazu. It's post plant.
Shotgun's out. Smoke put behind Kazu, and they'll actually duck back into it. I like the passive play. Play on the side of time. Laugh will also look to go in, and low HP for 2 separate players. The first now taken care of. Sea Leaf down, and Oxytocin with the retrieved Vandal will find a 3rd frag, but that's all they'll pick up before they fall. Kazu's in the 1 versus 2. Only has a classic to their name, though, and against a very well-mechanicked Reyna or an aggressive Omen, neither of which is going to pay off in your favor. Cushing Academy, nice little 2-piece. And back-to-back, however, not as clean as they would have liked.
Yeah, PSA, I mean, that's like the second best outcome for them, right?
Yeah.
Other than winning the round there. They get the bomb plant down. They take down 3 members of Cushing Academy, 2 of which bought a lot of weaponry here. So they're kind of broke coming into this gun round. Not that they can't afford utility or anything like that, but it could end up happening. If PSA wins this round 3, they could end up going on a bit of a run here, right? Getting 2-3 rounds for themselves. Simply because the heavy investment in round 2 from Cushing with the casualties that happened forces them to kind of have a half eco potentially next round if they lose it.
So Restoline Shine has just not bought anything other than a Ghost. No half shields, no extra utility, nothing. Really at all, surprisingly enough, even though the rest of the team has Vandals. And, they've unintentionally taken a TP, however, it actually is going to save them for the time being. Odd setup for Cushing, I have to say. Still only having 2 players towards A, it's not the end of the world. They will actually rotate over their Sova, or Cypher, not Sova. But
I know
they've lost their
exactly
Sage,
where you are.
and Neural Theft's going to be used. That's free info.
Yeah, I love that kind of hang back, lurk coming out from the Cypher. You typically see that happen all the time, and especially with this, you've always got to be aware of where Oxytocin is, because you don't know if he's hanging back with his team, if he's executing, he might come in onto the site here. So their Cypher, Cushing Academy, has to stay here just in case, as now the execute has happened and the bomb's going down.
Smoke in front, though. They can swing that. That's exactly what happens. Laugh at least denies the spike plant originally. Still a 3 versus 4. Still a player disadvantage. And more importantly, still not as much real estate, but still nobody covering that swing. The default plant position on 2 separate occasions shut down, and the reswing from Marshall around the guiding light wants to step up for a frag, but doesn't have the opportunity. And it's a 1 versus 3 now for the Sky, who came into the round with nothing other than a Ghost and a negligible amount of utility, and now is stuck in a 1v3 with low HP and, I believe, a retrieved rifle at best.
Yeah, has the Vandal in hand, but 40 HP maybe to his name. Yeah, 34 as we swing over. No util, like you mentioned, 15 seconds until that flashes up. I mean, at this point, I'd even recommend just saving the rifle potentially, because this seems impossible to try and retake here. Maybe he's looking for some opportunistic exit frags, but yeah, a bit of a head scratcher, right? That the Sky is not buying any weaponry at all. Like, you have to believe that if there's a judge or another rifle in play, they can probably just win that A site kind of skirmish that happened before they TP out. But instead, Crystalline, like we said, maybe looking for some opportunistic exit frags, is unable to get anything, just saves the Vandal here. And PSA have got their first round on the board with Cushing Academy kind of broken in economy. As you look, not all of them can buy like full shield, full rifles here.
Even another shotgun going to be brought. Surprisingly not on Laugh this time. seeming like they have been trying to take full advantage of the shotgun meta, or whatever it may very well seem like. Orion instead will bring the Bucky. And I wanted to talk about the previous round where Cushing took that control back towards the A side, and then got a little over aggressive. We saw them deny the spike plant the second time. You have that player equalization, you have the 3v3, and everybody can have a rifle at that point. Yes, it wasn't picked up yet by Crystalline Shine, but it really didn't matter in the end. The question was, why get over aggressive around a small amount of utility when it doesn't gain you as much as it may be worth the risk? And in that situation, that's exactly why. They end up moving around, they give up a lot, and they give up that economy. Snowster Kane wants to go for the Alt Orb, and will realize there's a small firing line on the other side, and disengage as quickly as possible.
Yeah, there's a lot of util being burned from Cushing Academy very early in the round. Both slows, and now Orion with a one tap. All right, I see you, I see you. Locking down Hookah for himself.
More information as well. Snowster Kane wants to swing this, but there are still two players waiting around that A main position. And because the camera saw both players and did not see the spike, there's not going to be as much of a full rotation by Cushing. Still, you will see a third player make the rotation over. That's the Sky again with limited weaponry. But as soon as they cut noise, Sky goes right back. Look at the top left corner. 3 players back on A. But as of right now, it may not be the call.
Snowster Kane right now holding this down with the Vandal. We also see Cypher picked up the weapon, got an upgrade onto here. Is now the re-hit potentially onto Hookah? I don't know. Orion seems like he has this kind of down pat as the dog does come out. He's gonna sniff him out, at least the cage here. They take the garden swinger here. And so now there's 3 people in Hookah. Ooh, Yoshi with the kill.
Time though, 9 seconds as they look to walk in. It's only the Cypher on site. Guiding Light does not land, and the Cypher does not get cleared out of the cubby position. 1 found, help from second and a third from CT. Perfect bait and switch set up by Cushing, and a little bit of making sure the control key works in the keyboard at the end of the round. Cushing will go up 3-1.
Oh, and PSA got stuck on the ledge. They were just a little too short. They couldn't find the hops over, and unfortunately gave just enough time for Cushing to rotate over. It looked pretty good after that pick onto the Sage, but they just could not get through the window here, or they couldn't get through Hookah window, and they got stuck. And when time's ticking, when it's that low, you start panicking. You're like, I just need to get the plant down. I need to put it down, and you're not really checking all your corners here. And I've been a bit critical of, you know, Cushing burning a lot of their util super early, but so far it's been working. As they invest the dog, they invest one of the flashes here. I feel like that dog could be used just a little bit better. Maybe wait 10-15 seconds and then try to find them.
But Mashal, getting a little bit overzealous while not having their vision fully intact, is lucky to get out and at least have the benefit of the regrowth. I also like this position. What you do is you get aggressive as the Reyna, and then you just disengage, leaving Laugh up here on the vertical position at Tetris, waiting for anybody to walk in. Most of the time, you'll consciously think about the Reyna and not think, oh, the Reyna's going to be sitting on top of Tetris. There's no way we have to clear that, and then you die from it. We'll see how it works in the later stages of the round.
Yeah, and National's playing his part perfectly, like you said, just drawing all the attention from Showers onto himself. So that even if they decide to flood out of Showers, swing him, maybe use the numbers advantage, like you said, Laugh is there waiting for the crossfire. I love that they're just, you know, stalling out with these smokes as well. It feels like PSA, obviously they're on kind of an eco round. They are just not committing to anything. They are so afraid of what is outside onto this bomb site.
A camera's just put in. I believe the camera may very well end up seeing Laugh. We'll see if that comes through as they look to swing. Will they clear out the Omen? That's the real question. Way not matter. Already 1 found by Laugh, and they'll actually use a Shrouded Step to get out and re-engage for a second kill. Lucky to escape with that one. Showstopper used will only find 1. A second by Sealif as they've retrieved the Vandal, but with 5 seconds left, they have to live, die, or try and keep this rifle over into the next round. They do have nearly full HP, and they will just stick around. Cushing cannot afford to over-engage for this because their economy not solidified by any means. They'll allow the single rifle over, but they'll win the round regardless.
Yeah, and this is falling down that slippery slope, right? I mean, we do have 4 rounds on the double sentinel for Cushing here. Just a couple more, and like I said, I think they've succeeded. If they get to that 8-4 mark, like I mentioned, they've definitely done their part. But it feels like PSA just does not have an answer. They don't know how to attack B. They've tried it once. They got stuffed out completely, and they said, you know what, never mind. We're just going to keep trying to hit A. But then you have Mashal, the duelist, getting a pick every single time on the Showers. And now we finally see them cheating towards B side here into the double center. How do they attack this?
They have to walk through a hell of a lot of utility that's just patiently waiting for them on the other side. 2 separate slow orbs dedicated as well. On the bright side, PSA has forced out a fair amount of utility. The problem is they haven't gained a whole lot to write home about off the back of it. There's the double satchel, there's the aggression, there's a swing from Orion, but they still end up losing the fight. There's that aggressive nature they've needed, and they already have the site without all that much utility dedicated on their side and with a player advantage.
And they're going to invest the Astro Wall here as well. I like that. Now that it cuts out all the sound, you kind of have to swing through it here, and they can play so many close angles, and there's nothing that the enemy team can really do about it. They've got to work through this wall, and are they going to expect the Astro? No, the double swing comes out. Shine's dead.
3v5s, they have to re-engage. They'll try to do so. Guiding Light will land onto Snowstercane. That is an audible cue that at least one player is patiently waiting an elbow. And there's even a tripwire waiting in front of them. Mashal will find one. The swing from Snowstercane still finds one, though. Not even worried about that tripwire, and that ends up stunning them out of position. And Mashal has to get aggressive off the back of it. Snowstercane's disengagement and disregard of the Cypher utility ends up costing them their life and the round for Cushing.
Yeah, really intense kind of round there. But like, once again, PSA lose a lot, right? This post plant, not the best. It was a 3v5 at one point and ended up losing 3 of their own members here. So you're going to look at that buy and yeah, rifles, some half shields. Well, you look on the side of Cushing, they've got shotguns galore. The Bucky, the Judge ready to go. And Crystalline, once again, opting in for just a pistol buy. I don't know. Is this the new strat? Did I miss the memo? Did something happen in the higher leagues, TTL? Because is this just like a full util Sky that invests money into the rest of the team? I'm very stumped right now.
I mean, I think there's confusion across the board, mine included, because naturally there's not as much clarity as we'd like. Orion avoids the flash. We're still on the set around here. Bucky swings, does damage onto Yoshi, but from that distance is not immediately lethal. The Judge, however, is! How does Kazu live through that? Wow, somebody go buy him a lottery ticket, because there's no way you're supposed to live through 2 separate Judge shots, one of them hitting your head from only 6 meters.
Yeah, I mean, we got to look at the replay back for Cushing Academy. Kind of rough for them as now 3v5 PSA. They are going to get that bomb down. They've also got a couple ultimates saved in the bank here. Now Laugh has just pushed through the smoke. He's gotten 2, and Marshal's gotten another. It's 3v2 in the blink of an eye.
And the spike plant may not mean anything, but the problem is there's a flank being established. This is not information available, as Oxytocin hasn't made a lick of noise, and the tap on the spike has not been exposed by any means. Swing from behind. Oxytocin finds a headshot and the finish. Help from Limbo. But will they stick? Yes, they will, only to fall just the same. A pincer maneuver of all time, and PSA bring it back to within 1.
That was very scary. Oxytocin being the hero that he needed. He even got the head tap onto Laugh, but unfortunately I think it was through the wall, through the very edge of that tube. So he swung, killed him, killed Mashal, but that was looking very, very rough. That's scary for PSA because even with the flank coming out from Oxytocin, it's a 4v3 on site. Like, there's no way you should be losing 3 of your members without trading a single one there. Lucky for PSA, they pick up that kill, they pick up the round, and Cushing still on a broken buy right now. Some of them have rifles, a couple of them have shotties, and I think Crystalline Shine once again just opted in for a pistol.
Laser used, finds at least the stun of the Laugh, who just gets out with only about 16 damage taken. But Laugh still sticks around, and Crystalline Shine has fallen in their aggressive endeavor through mid. That problem, now nothing back and nothing available for Cushing Academy. They want to try to get in, but these smokes will not let them do so. They want to try to get out, but there's no easy way to set up a flank even if they wanted to. Mashal should, however, be aware that there's a player just waiting for them sitting inside of lamps because of how far forward the tripwire is, and they are. They have to push elsewhere, and that's exactly what Laugh does. Finds a first, and the Neural Theft now being used will just spiral everything! Blink and you miss it! The entirety of PSA has fallen, and Cushing will re-extend their lead.
Yeah, and I thought the last couple post plants were just a off thing, right? Maybe it was just once in a blue moon. No, PSA's post plants are really bad, right? Like, they are putting the bomb down and they're not really covering angles. They're not really trying to swing off of each other. Even with the man advantage there, the rest of Cushing just end up with a retake. And yeah, it was some really good rifling coming out from them, some really, really good headshots. But if you're in that position as PSA, You have to be ready for the trade. You have to be ready for the swing. They just opted in for ones on every single engagement and lost it. That's why in the blink of an eye, like you mentioned, they died. And yeah, Cushing Academy, props to you for the retake, but PSA, you have got to play your post plants better here.
There has to be improvements and quick, because PSA honestly had good positions, but they didn't have actionable intelligence to play for refrags. That was the main problem. Cushing could push from 3 separate angles, all in the span of about 3 or 4 seconds, like a coordinated attack. 3, 2, 1, go, everybody swing. That's exactly what happens. The only opportunity that they had back was the singular player sitting in showers, who ended up dying through a smoke, ironically enough, and the second player waiting inside of mid, who really didn't do a whole lot because they were still being swung from 2 or 3 separate angles. If PSA is going to play a post plant like they just did, they have to do so from a more distanced position or with more players centralized around one spot, because that just did not work. And credit where credit is due. Cushing Academy leveled that one perfectly. You could not have asked for a better retake, especially with only 4 players and a player disadvantage. But they just sent it. And the coordination at the high school level is insane.
I mean, they're just one brain cell, right? Shared amongst all of them. It works, apparently, is Cushing Academy. Sentinel set up once again onto the B side. I'm impressed that PSA is still willing to attack it, just kind of as a show of like, hey, we're not just going to leave you to your own devices on B side. You're going to have to rotate. You guys will have to respect the potential it is. Now, Oxytocin wants to get that wall bang here with the Guardian. I believe he can do it. I mean, looking for the heads right now.
That's enough, though. Look at the rotation. It's only the Omen on this site. And Laugh is just patiently waiting without any sound cue being made near them. Finally, there is. Guiding Light and Paint Shells used, but Laugh, even with the lack of information nor vision, will still be able to get out. They are caught by that 0 point. The spike is being planted, but Laugh wants to swing it, wants to deny it, and they will. At a bare minimum, they have denied the spike plant, and Mashal getting aggressive will do just the same. Empress popped, and they'll get out alive, wanting to reswing it. With the increased fire rate, they'll do so, and almost find a kill, but they'll end up running out of ammo before they originally expected to do so. Seems like that extra fire rate could be an Achilles heel. They're taking full advantage of it. Limbo in a 1 versus 3. Low HP and no spike. No way back in.
Yeah, and that swing from Laugh not only denied the plant, but created the space that Mashal needed so he can get a kill, frag out, go back into showers, and retake and threaten that space. Really well played from Mashal here to use your teammate's sacrifice, the sacrificial kill here, to just get so much more. I love that from Laugh, right? Giving his life so that his duelist can start popping off. Very well played. I have to believe that that was a coordinated push here as we see Mashal with that kill onto Laugh. Just pops off here, pops the Empress, starts getting more aggressive, takes space, and completely denies any sort of push or any sort of bomb plant coming out from PSA. Very well played from those two. Laugh and Mashal are in sync.
This is a PSA. That's how you bait your teammates. At least that's how you do it properly. Sealeaf will get back into lamps. Information gained across the board, though. And the Seekers go all the way into showers. So that's free info that the flank will be established for the later stages. And you can see that the Cypher's aware of it, set up the trip because of it, and does not want to give away that position. But this is something that we've seen before. PSA has had a fully enveloped post-plant position, and even with a player advantage, but in previous rounds, it hasn't worked to perfection. Mashal's setting up a flank now in through mid, and unfortunately an astral form is Limbo on the close right, and they should have made noise coming out of it. That's exactly what happens, but it's still an even 2-for-2 trade. And on the site, still all 3 players of PSA patiently waiting for this engagement, and a good guiding light solidifying that the Reyna is indeed pushing from that position, but Sealeaf gets caught out with timing, pushed off the angle, and forced away from that, and forced back into their own utility. An even better paranoia blinds Kazu and forces them out of their own weapon. Sealeaf, how in the world does that happen? Marshall does a 180 and catches off Sealeaf, who wasn't expecting the Reyna turn the other direction, and Cushing an unsuspecting 7th round victory, but one they are more than happy to walk away with.
My monitor turned off, TTL. I didn't see that. I don't think you saw it. Don't worry, it's okay. Sealeaf, I didn't see anything there, but yeah, it could have been a massive play, and it just kind of feels that they're almost there. PSA almost has that post plant ready to go. You almost throw the utility into, lamps around this area so you can deny the push. You miss. You've got to jump into your own thing. You almost hit your judge shots, and those split-second decisions, those micro mistakes can cause you the round here. Is now CA at that 7-3 mark right now, and Snoster Kane gets taken out immediately.
Celia getting swung to the backside of Sight. The Cypher needs to step up for multiple frags here if they want to make it a possible round and retake later on. Orion just gets swung by 2 separate players though, and the re-aggression, they're wasting no time to send it. The problem is that lack of time allowed does not allow anything to solidify. I hate a Cushing save here. We're headed into the last round of the half. Maybe do some economic damage, maybe push it. It's up to them.
Depends on how much money they have, right? If they're still close, because they did string quite a bit of rounds together here. They might just fancy, like you said, doing some eco damage, even giving up their lives potentially, just to make PSA's next round a bit more difficult here. Because we are getting to that point. Like you said, next round will be the last one. And if they can get it to that 7.5 point, like you said, with that double initiator, that's where things can really start going. Is Mashal has done some damage here, and he's going to get some exit frags. He's going to force them to fight. As Yoshi picks up the kill. One player down from PSA, but a damn good push and a
That's a problem.
Never mind. That's
no, it's
2
not.
more down. That's unfortunate. Never mind. Some economic damage done even more. And you look, half rifles potentially is, PSA, they should be okay. I don't know if they'll be able to buy all their util here. I am looking over. It looks like everybody's got everything ready to go. They're geared up for this final round here, and I spy with my little eye, Orion and Crystalline, they've got some interesting weapons here, TTL.
Snoster Kane also bringing in the Operator. For the first time we're seeing that so far today. I like this. You're setting up double Sentinel, both of them with significantly heavier weaponry than what we've seen in prior rounds. And maybe PSA isn't aware of this. Maybe they're not ready for it. They've been conditioned in prior rounds. There's a swing. There's the frag with the opening Operator. And just like that, allowed to find a free pickup. The problem is you've already lost your Cypher in the process.
They're just barreling down with this. As Oxytocin is running into this with the cabbages right now, and oh my god, he swings, gets 3! He's got 4 on the board!
Only 4 though. Laugh now up for a 4K of his own. From the shadows used, we'll get up into Hookah, and I don't know if the sound cue's there. That's the real question. Do they know where Laugh has gone? Oh, they absolutely do, and a smoke put right in front of his face. There's no way into this. There's no way out. He will use another shredded step into his own smoke. This is an opportunity, but not the easiest one to say the very least. All 3 players in 3 significantly different positions, and there's rotation into CT. He seems to be aware of the possibility. There's no way you divulge all 3 of these positions, especially now with the gravity well being solidified. He's forced back just for Limbo to pick up off of where their utility left off. PSA, a really good round, and Oxytocin, a clean as heck 4K.
That is a man with conviction right there. I mean, you look at this replay here, everybody's blinded out, right? You see both Snoster Kane and Crystalline Shine eat the cabbages and Oxytocin. That's a free double. That icing on top, that 3rd kill is what actually secures them the round here in TTL. That's just Oxytocin saying, you know what? Give me the ball, put the round in my hands, I will go to work here.
Oxytocin has gone above and beyond, and if you want to go beyond, you can go beyond your field of study and get world-class education and leadership. As an Army officer, you'll learn to be a decision maker and a mentor in any environment at any scale. It's a challenging path, but the choice is simple. Decide to lead. To learn more about the Army ROTC and scholarship opportunities available, please visit goarmy.com/ROTC. This is the HSEL Fall Major presented by the U.S. Army ROTC, so go ahead and check them out at the link, and maybe go beyond, at least in your ranked games.
Yeah, I know I try to go beyond in my ranked games. As right now,
I'm not very good at it.
PSA is trying to go beyond, the 5-round marker right now, as they are on that potential defense here is. Right now, Cushing Academy, that double initiator is going to be hard to break right now. And how are they going to be able to do this? With the single solo duelist that is Reyna, they don't have that entry, right? They don't have that shrouded step, right, that you would normally have. The Omen has to commit that. They don't have the double satchel that a Raze would, or the jet dash normally that invested here. And so now, the site's being given up for free is, they don't need any of that. They could just W key in, I guess.
My
He didn't even plant in the middle. He didn't even plant default. He planted in between triple and the default island and somehow was able to get away with it. Laugh finds one. A follow-up is there, but Oxytocin finds one of his own on the flank in through the shower's position. And there's the step up, but it's still down to just the duelist, just the 1v2. And somehow the dismiss to get away has at least kept them alive for an extra second. But the stick coming through, the Cypher, nerves of steel, will not waver in their endeavor. Will stick all the way through and stick a second frag on the round. PSA, a much-needed pistol round victory, and Oxytocin will deliver it in tow.
His name might be Oxytocin, but the man's got ice in his veins. TTL sticks the plant and says, you know what? You're not even allowed to leave with your life. Gets the head tap onto Mashal here in Cushing Academy. They were given the site for free. It wasn't, you know, it was a bait. It was by choice, right? PSA is like, we have the retake. It's easy enough here. We'll use our double initiator to swing you out, goo your flashes, and just hopefully, you know, frag out here as PSA. This Raze picks up a kill here, and Limbo picks up another one, and now quickly Cushing Academy gets cut down from 5 to 3, from 5 to 2.
Paint Shell's being used as well. They seem to be aware that Orion's there, and there's Sealeaf with 3. It helped that Orion did not have any shields whatsoever, but it really didn't matter in the end. Kazu looking to swing showers. Will they clear the corner? That's everybody's question on today's game show. Well, do they clear it? Yes, they do! PSA will flawlessly take their second of the half and walk away with a tied-up scoreline.
Yeah, and that Marshall's an operator, right, on the bonus round. Like, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, no one's buying armor, as we do see a replay here. Sealeaf picks up the one with the headshot and just absolutely starts going to town here. And yeah, that's an off. That's an off. That's what it is. Nobody has armor here. Picks up 3, and Kazu doesn't initially clear it. Gets the micro adjustment. I don't even think Laugh was ready for Kazu to swing.
I mean, I can't really blame him there. There's a whole lot of aggression for PSA on that defensive side, and now they really don't have as much of an advantage as they did in the previous round. Mashal will not get caught by that 0 point. Importantly enough, that 0 point does not find any information, albeit a lack of information is information in and of itself. If no one's there, you know no one's there. There's that Marshal, though. No longer an operator. Will only find a body shot, and, well, with the Sage on that attacking side, it's as good as virtually nothing other than taking away the shields.
Yeah, but TTL, if no one's there, does that mean somebody was there and isn't there anymore? And are they coming back? Right, that's the mind game that we play with these double initiators. The lack of information can provide false information on certain information. Now, Sealeaf has certain information that somebody is on, you know, Belong here is tagged up the Sage, although she is going to be able to heal, I believe.
Through your cage, you find 1. The information of the tripwire, Oxytocin finds 2 kills from 20 meters away, and with arguably the worst gun to use from that same very distance. Mashal wanting to get in, regrowth will be used, and the Cypher right back up to full HP. And sure, Cushing is going to get a spike plant here, but all 4 players for PSA are stacked up and ready for this engagement. Good tripwire, but it will be immediately identified, and there's that look of aggression around through the elbow position. Somehow a missed opportunity, and Mashal will take full advantage of it. Snowstorcane still in the general vicinity as well, is sticking around as the Sage should be dead, and is not. Orion, however, with one of their own. Oxytocin finds a 3K. Make it 4 with a Stinger. Needs to step up, and Yoshi will find the 5th. A stolen ace, and a stolen round for PSA. So close yet so far from Cushing.
And Cushing invested so much here, and we talked about them needing to get to that 8-4 scoreline. They ended the half at 7-5, and now we see on the offensive side, this double Sentinel composition is just not up to snuff, as Mashal, the one trying to drag his team to the victory line. On the other side, you see Oxytocin dragging his team potentially finally in the lead, the first time in this match. PSA are just running through, right, these post-spawns. They've given up the site twice and have been able to retake effortlessly here. And so Cushing Academy, I'm expecting a timeout soon. If they lose this next 2 rounds, I would expect a timeout from them.
I'd honestly say if you lose this one, it depends on whether you can buy the next round. I always like to call timeouts before a round where you can fully purchase and give yourself an arguable shot. Some players are not like that. Sometimes you just want to cut down the momentum, maybe shut that down the other way. Oh, timing. Kazu's dead. There's a step back. That's something that Cushing Academy needed. Welcome to timing in first-person shooters, and an ultimate, as Stoster Kane will build up the resurrection. I don't think they used it a single time in the first half, actually.
No, I don't think there's any opportunities. The Sea Leaf does pick up one. Crystalline Shine, body thrown. There's the op, guys. I found it. But unfortunately, that's a very costly information-seeking body there. They could try their hand at the B bomb site here, but how are they going to cross? They don't recommend going through this middle area here. Sea Leaf might still be watching it. These guys, nerves of steel, they don't care.
No, they want to send it. I honestly can't blame them. Now's the time to go aggressive. You're presuming there's a second player waiting on B, so you have the double player advantage if you go in now. Limbo forced away with the paranoia, so there is free real estate, pun intended, for Cushing. Is they don't have all that much to extend to. There's nothing on the backside of the site. There's nothing to work around. And there's the showstopper denying the spike plant. There's that distance that you need to be able to work around. And a good set of paint shells. Explosive play for an explosive and a ring hasn't even been fully taken yet. Laugh will look to get the spike down, but they don't have mid control. Laugh still wins that first fight. There's no time. 5 seconds remaining. Marshall has to get it down and will stick in. No way to cut away. Down in the later stages. PSA had every feasible disadvantage, and with a single shell, shells will walk away with that single round.
I mean, Sea Leaf, the hero, right? I mean, just denies the plant, denies another replant, right? Potentially the resurrection coming out from Stoster Kane as well. You don't want to res in front of paint shells here, and that swing coming out, denying the plant one more time, allows Limbo to just play the game and quite literally play Limbo with Mashal.
Oh, that's a round that Cush are going to be kicking themselves for. Fortunately, they didn't dedicate any ult. Free information here for Oxytocin. They are just patiently waiting for anybody to push through this. Oxytocin's still in hookah, though. They don't know that there's a very patient site. Now they do. And he'll swing into 4 separate players. Welcome to Halloween season and jump scares, Oxytocin. There is Cushing Academy.
Here is the Flood is going to get denied so far. Yeah, they're just backing on out. I love this. They've cut noise and they forced to rotate out. As we do see potentially Sea Leaf and Kazu going back over to A. Now they might have suspected it. The advantages are there. 5v2 on either of the sides. Full send it if you're pushing here. Now Sea Leaf cuts it down.
Already won. Smoke will be put up, at least to prevent some of that extra information and the advantage of playing from that distance. They're surprisingly also not going to use the resurrection immediately, or at this point at all. Cushing have the availability to stick around or go back towards B, and it seems like they're going to take advantage of the time and just slowly walk, cut noise, and go the other direction. When does that internal clock for PSA tick, though? When are they going to rotate back? The answer, probably about 4 seconds from now.
Yeah, Limbo is still here, and I love the Astra pick here because it can provide support all over the map. That's the biggest advantage that this character has amongst all the controllers. Now, the Flood comes out, and Limbo, will he be checked? Oh!
Finds 3. Laugh, 1 versus 3. Certainly attainable. Will be able to get the spike down. All 3 players rotating from CT. That should be information, but the Trailblazers being used, and Laugh, everybody swinging him. All the information there and all the fragging power required has just enveloped. What a swing coming through from Limbo as well. Only one that could have denied anything, seemingly denies everything, and wins the 10th round PSA.
I mean, getting one there is opportunistic, but you got to look at the Sage. Out with the util, just doesn't even recognize that the site isn't cleared. Look at this. I mean, Limbo catches 3 people with their pants down. Planning one head, the other even wasn't even looking at him. Guys, you can't do that. You have to clear the whole site or something like that can happen. That's a mistake that only happens once a game. But in this case, TTL, it might have just been the back.
And you said it. Over those next couple rounds, they will most likely call a timeout. Now is an extremely yet to win a singular round on the defensive side, including a bonus, including a counter bonus, including the first rifle round advantage, and you lost via time because of a single player walking in. It has been a lot of individual potential that has turned into multiple round victories. A lot of the times they are relying on their team as a whole to step up, and that is a much better scenario. You don't always want to rely on individual playstyles. is have the advantage of being able to do when they need to. And Limbo finding those. Oxytocin rounds finding and see playing on the Rays on a couple occasions with the Showstopper really just stops the attack, or in one of those cases, defenses of Cushing Academy.
Now, the dog does get committed to clear out Hookah, but they're opting in to just give this away. PSA understand that Hookah control isn't that really important right now, as they know that they're playing against a rifle disadvantage right now, as Oxytocin on the defensive side here can have this site locked down. Push comes in. They're trying to spam him out. They don't know where he is.
Laugh is using TP behind him. He didn't know. Oxytocin just got caught out because of the From the Shadows. Laugh didn't make as much of a sound cue as most people expect from it, and ends up being caught out because of it. 1 for 1 though. There with the operator, at least steps up for that follow-up frag. And Laugh there for another. Will not stop his endeavor of dominance. And it's a 2v5. The Resurrection finally used the first time in this game. It is round 18, by the way. And that may very well be, as you said in the previous round, just the straw that broke the camel's back, the final nail in the coffin. PSA will find 1 kill back. There's just no time. You can see Blast Pack away. They're saving.
That's a cheeky spot from Laugh here. Almost takes the operator out of the hands of Sea Leaf here, but that's something you still have to contend with. You still have to understand that coming into later rounds, Cushing, there's an operator on the enemy team. He could be anywhere, right? He could be playing on B side, playing on A truck. Here's now some life being breathed back into Cushing Academies, right? They finally have gotten themselves around, and TTL, like you mentioned, they lost 5 rounds in a row, and oh no, he's almost dead. It's fine though. We're good. We're okay.
What? Sealing was
Okay,
sitting
guys.
out in the middle of heaven as 4 separate people take the showers TP and somehow lives as of 2 people swinging him from the main position. And just casually, Mashal didn't have their headphones on apparently because they were sitting triple and definitely heard the raise but just didn't swing it. There's no way you're supposed to live with the operator there. Sea Leaf is very, very lucky.
Yeah, now the operator guessing game comes in once again. Where are they posted? Are you going to check with the body, or are you going to check with some util? Is Orion pushing into Hookah area? And, PSA have been opting in to just give all this space for free, and I don't know if they're going to keep doing that, right? Like, I feel like it worked a couple times, but now Cushing knows what to do with it, right? They can coordinate some of their pushes.
What?
As I say that, Oxytocin picks up 2 through the smoke. 1 with the tripwire, and unfortunately, the Sage was lined up right behind him, and so Cushing Academy's numbers get cut down to 3 in an instant.
The embodiment of unlucky is Cushing Academy through a couple of these rounds. That is a feels bad man moment and a half, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it either. The only way you prevent that is if you just happen to not be standing in the same position and feel bad. But it's something you really just cannot avoid. Mashal has found a timing though. Because their teammate took out the tripwire, they make it out of the B site only to lose the fight to Limbo. And they've given up Hookah, they've given up the site, they have no longer Gardens control. 2v5, I mean, they're choosing the right sites, but do they clear this? There's no way.
Yeah, this crossfire is impossible. They have a camera ready, but yeah, they're just waiting around. I mean, this guy, he has an Ares, Orion. He doesn't really have the firepower to contend with this. He has to get the first bullet and then some.
Camera taken out.
They have found out where at least 1 member of Cushing Academy
saving.
is right now. They are saving. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this. Orion, I think an Ares is saving. He's going to get 2, and that might open up the site. Psych. Time's up. I lied.
There's just 6 seconds left. I mean, I understand the aggression from PSA. Try and take a couple rifles away into what may very well be the round that sends you on to match point. That is a questionable round for Cushing. If you're all going to push, you might as well send it. If your Reyna's going to solo walk out B, why not wait 15 seconds for the rotation to come through? This is... wow. And the wild thing is, it was body shots. That's the funny part of it. Usually those wild shots that end up finding a kill unintentionally will end up being inadvertent headshots. Not the case. That means multiple separate shots hit on the Snowstercane.
That's so unlucky, too, because it was the highlight of that tripwire. He's like, I'm just going to fire into this really quickly. And I think, unfortunately, Snowstercane was getting the orb there, so wasn't allowed to even react. He's like, oh, I'm dead? Question mark? All right, well, now it's a 3v5 as Cushing Academy facing down a potential loss here. There's 11-8 right now. PSA, though, they are going to execute. Yoshi, though, gets the first kill. Crystalline goes down as well. Kazu and Yoshi stuff out the offensive here. Two of probably the most important members for Cushing go down.
You're not watching showers, though. Keep an eye on that. As the walk-in from the Omen is there, the perfect timing, C-Leap will look, but they'll still lose the fight, and Laugh will end up finding two separate players in front and behind the triple boxes. Kazu's now the only one directly on the site that can immediately contend with things, and a good Paranoia ends up missing Kazu just narrowly. They will still be able to lock down this position. They will have to re-swing, and fully so, and the Cypher, not immediately holding, will end up swinging and looking to find the frag, of which they do indeed pick up. They have the player advantage, but not anymore! Snowster King dies as the Nebula falls off the top of the default boxes, and just like that, a 2v2 now commences. Laugh still occupying their original position inside of showers, Orion's position now duly noted as they are seen throwing their cyber cage, but Oxytocin hops inside of it, not apparently caring. Orion has been baited to the fullest extent of the word. Just hop on the spike, hop it away, and hop away without giving away any information. And away go PSA up onto match point.
12-8 right now, and yeah, Cushing Academy, they just don't have the post plan available. I mean, your best player, Mashal, goes down, right? Or what was your best performing player until Laugh came in. I mean, that is rough, and especially losing Crystalline to try to check for where some of these members are post plan, right? Finding out, okay, they're playing behind triple, they're playing behind truck, right? They're coming through potentially lamps here. When you lose your util like that and just not having a rough game, I have to believe it's because Crystalline has just been opting in for these eco buys every single round here. That is so crucial for those post plans. As Mashal, though, turning up just a little bit. This was a Mashal that we saw in the last half, who was just getting first blood after first blood on the defensive side. Finally putting in work on this Reyna.
And importantly enough, because they find that kill in the proximity of their Cypher, the Neural Theft is used, and they know the B site is nearly undefended. The problem here, look at the map. The spike is just now entering in through B main, so all that position is going to be held for long periods of time, and Mashal has no idea that elbow's been taken. All that information basically means nothing. 4 players have rotated over. It'll be a 4v4 if they push it, and they want to, but they're walking straight into a bait setup. The blender has now commenced and has been activated on the site itself. No way in. And at this point, you just have to get out. Neural Theft being used. Get away while you can.
Just a meat grinder in that, hookah area. And like you mentioned, Mashal, his main job was to stay alive. And I get it, right? You have to play aggressive. You've got to take some space here. But getting killed by that elbow spot there kind of stuffs out any sort of offensive that potentially Cushing had, and that was the advantage. Don't know, nobody was near Mashal. I don't think anybody on the team was expecting his Oxytocin. He's just deciding to end the game here.
Casually walks in front of the Cosmic Divide as well. False sense of security, unfortunately, for the Sage at a 13-8 finish for the Putnam Science Academy. What a closeout to that one. Finishing with dominance and, well, just showing that they deserve the victory. Clean close, and honestly, clean plays on multiple occasions from Oxytocin, including the last couple kills.
Yeah, I mean, to say that he wasn't the hero for PSA, I don't know who else would be. CA had some very, very good performing members. Right? Mashal and Laugh just could not, unfortunately, carry the load of this team. And we kind of talked about it, right? That double Sentinel composition. It had to win 8 rounds. In my opinion, that is the threshold on defensive side. If you win less than that, it becomes a really rough time. And we saw the slippery slope that ended up happening. PSA won 5 rounds before Cushing could even get one there. And even that one didn't allow them to snowball, didn't really allow them to pick up some momentum here. And so you win, you see the win. It was, 12 or 13-8 here. PSA just doing a fantastic job. That double initiator on defense allows you to play retake so well. And even if you are the double Sentinel team, you've got a Cypher, you've got a Sage. You don't have a lot of that Molly post plant. You've got more stalling, more kind of the slowing down, but you don't have a way to just stop them completely.
That's what I was going to say. Bringing up the fact that you just lack the Killjoy. I mean, not bringing the Chamber is a question for another day, depending on how you view a Chamber. He's not a Sentinel. He's basically a duelist, at least more nowadays than he used to be, but that's a different conversation. But not having that Killjoy, I think running double Sentinel is good. Even running single with just Sage is okay, but you said it. Not winning those 8 rounds, and especially not having the combination of agents that you need for that attack to flourish. The Omen's okay. It worked out on a few occasions. It was good. The Sky being alone, though, not giving enough for that attack to really set up, especially with the lack of that second initiator, lack of a second controller. There were a lot of problems that were just not solved early enough for Cushing Academy, and it came back to bite them. They only won a singular round on that attacking side. And albeit it was a good round, but not enough to take the map.
Yeah, and I love how you mentioned that, I hate to pick on them, but Crystalline Shine just did not have the game that we expected, right? I think ended up going 2-19, right? Was opting in for a lot of eco buys, and that might have been the reason why they couldn't get 8 or 9 rounds on the defensive side. It was very odd play. I don't know if they were testing out a new strategy. I don't know if this is something they normally do. And I'd have to go back and see if he's buying for somebody else, because a lot of those rounds he had like a ghost, a stinger.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever saw a rifle bought from Crystalline Shine once.
No, not enough at least. And one player who rifled out of their mind is Oxytocin. Through and through the game, last round of the half, you can see 26 elims. I believe only died on 12 or 13 occasions in what was a very clean 21 round game finish. 340 ACS
I was
is
gonna say.
insane. And as a Cypher, while you have a raise on your team, winning 5 individual first bloods is just unheard of.
I mean, it's easy to see that, like, in my opinion, she's the MVP, right? I mean, there were not just one, but like 3 or 4 rounds where it was just an Oxytocin round, right? I mean, the one that sticks out in my mind on the offensive side, when he just runs into a CT area, right? Gets the triple, secures the round for his team, right? That was insane from PSA. He said, you know what? I'm going to push with the cabbages. I'm going to go in. I'm going to try to get 1, if not 2. Ends up getting 3, almost gets the ace, but that happened multiple times. He got multi-kills, right? First bloods, like you mentioned, I mean, Oxytocin just had rounds where he took over, whereas it felt like Mashal and Laugh on the opposing side, they picked up a lot of kills, but it was more like exits. It wasn't really like a round necessarily that either of these players necessarily took over completely, right? Mashal had, I think, 1 really good round where he got 3 kills, potentially 4, but other than that, Oxytocin stole the show for me.
And the other conversation was Oxytocin had a lot of team support to do so. You remember that 3K when they swung through CT? Those 2 players had a paranoia effect on them. They could see 4 meters ahead of them, not the 8 away that the Cypher was. Good spray transfers, good frags for Oxytocin, and honestly, a good map as a whole for the Putnam Science Academy. They will take Bind 13-8 over top of Cushing Academy and walk away with this 3rd week of HSEL Fall Major Action presented by the U.S. Army ROTC. But that's it for us. That's our only game for you on the day. We encourage you to come back next week for possibly some more action here, especially around the CECC East activation. We thank you very much for joining us and hope to see you next time.